There are moments in life when betrayal doesn't knock politely at the door. It rips the walls down while you read too weak to stand. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that you shrank yourself to fit inside their world, then stay with me because this story isn't just about revenge, it's about awakening. 3 years ago, I walked away from my last name, my father's empire, and the life everyone expected me to live, all for a man I believed was my forever. His name was Adrian Cole, and when I met him, he was ambitious, charming, and just vulnerable enough to make me believe he needed me. I was born Isabella Laurent, the only daughter of Victor Laurent, founder of Laurent Global Industries, a multinational powerhouse operating in infrastructure, tech, and private equity across 4 continents. But Adrian didn't know that when we met in a quiet art gallery in Boston. I didn't want him to know. For once, I wanted someone to see me, not my surname. So I became simply Bella. We married modestly. No press. No board members. No headlines. I stepped away from daily corporate operations, managing everything remotely through my most trusted advisor, Daniel Reyes. From the outside, I was just another housewife in a gated suburb, learning recipes from YouTube and attending charity brunches. Inside that house, though, I slowly disappeared. Adrian's mother, Patricia Cole, made sure of that. She never liked me. I was too quiet, too soft, too plain. Nothing I did was enough. If dinner was late, I was careless. If it was perfect, I was trying too hard. Adrian never defended me. At first, I told myself he was stressed. He was building his startup, and I quietly invested millions through shell accounts to keep it afloat. He never asked where the miracle funding came from. He just celebrated his business genius. I let him have that illusion because love, when you're naive, feels more important than credit. Then I got pregnant. I thought a child would anchor us, soften him, make us a family instead of a performance. But during those 9 months, he grew colder. Distant phone calls, late nights, locked screens. And Patricia's whispers grew sharper, more entitled, as if she sensed something shifting. The night I gave birth to my daughter, I was exhausted beyond words. My body felt split in two, my mind floating somewhere between pain and relief. Nurses came and went. Machines beeped softly. I pretended to sleep when I heard the door open again. Adrian's voice was low. "Is she out?" he asked. Patricia replied in a hushed tone. "Completely. Now listen carefully. Did you bring the documents?" Papers shuffled. "Yes. Divorce agreement, full asset transfer authorization and custodial surrender. Once she signs, Laurent Global shares move to you through spousal reallocation. After that, we don't need her." I stopped breathing. My blood ran cold, but my mind became terrifyingly clear. They knew. Somehow, they had discovered my real identity. And instead of confronting me, they decided to exploit my weakness. Adrian chuckled softly. "She's fragile right now. Emotional. She'll sign anything. She's been blinded by love for 3 years. One more signature won't hurt." Something inside me didn't break. It crystallized. The girl who believed love meant sacrifice died quietly in that hospital bed. When morning came, Adrian walked in holding pale pink roses and wearing that rehearsed smile. "Bella, sweetheart, just hospital discharge forms. We need to process insurance." He laid the stack in front of me. Divorce papers, full share transfer, custody relinquishment. He underestimated 2 things, my intelligence and my silence. I looked up at him with hollow calm. "Can you get me some water?" I asked softly. The moment he stepped out, I reached for my phone and dialed Daniel. He answered on the first ring. "Isabella." His tone shifted immediately. "It's time," I said. "Initiate Aurora Protocol, effective immediately." There was no hesitation. "Understood, Ms. Laurent. The board has been waiting." When Adrian returned, I was sitting upright, daughter sleeping peacefully beside me. "I'll sign," I said gently. "But I want your mother here." Patricia rushed in, barely containing her greed. "Good girl," she murmured. I picked up the pen, and at that exact second, the hospital room door swung open. Security personnel in tailored black suits entered first. Behind them, Daniel stepped in, composed as ever, followed by 2 members of the Laurent board and a flood of reporters tipped off strategically minutes earlier. Cameras flashed, microphones lifted. Daniel spoke clearly. "Miss Laurent, the emergency board session is ready. Media outlets are awaiting your statement regarding your reinstatement as active CEO of Laurent Global Industries." Adrian's face drained of color. Patricia's jaw trembled. I slowly removed the hospital blanket, stood despite the pain, and faced them. You assumed I was weak, I said calmly. You mistook love for ignorance. Reporters exploded with questions. Mr. Cole, did you attempt to coerce your wife into transferring corporate control? Mrs. Cole, were you aware of financial conspiracy charges being prepared? Daniel handed me a tablet displaying live updates. Cole Tech Solutions, Adrian's startup, had just declared insolvency after Laurent Global withdrew silent backing and exposed falsified revenue claims tied to internal audits I authorized months earlier when suspicions began forming. Adrian dropped to his knees beside the hospital bed. Bella, please, I was confused. My mother pressured me. I never meant. I cut him off with a look colder than anger. You meant every word. Patricia began screaming, calling me manipulative, heartless, cruel. I watched her the way one watches a distant storm, detached. Security, I said quietly. Remove them. As they were escorted out, cameras capturing every second, I felt something unexpected. Not triumph, but clarity. This wasn't revenge, it was restoration. I filed for divorce that same day, full custody and formal charges for attempted coercion and fraud. Evidence surfaced quickly, recorded conversations, digital drafts of asset seizure strategies, even emails Patricia sent to a corporate lawyer outlining their post-divorce restructuring. The case was airtight. Within months, Adrian faced civil penalties and criminal charges related to attempted financial manipulation. Patricia faded from public view entirely. I returned to headquarters 6 weeks later, walking through the Laurent lobby, not as someone hiding in shadows, but as a woman who understood exactly who she was. Shareholders applauded. Markets stabilized. Internally, I launched the Aurora Foundation, a legal and financial advocacy program protecting spouses from coercive asset exploitation during vulnerable life stages like childbirth or illness. Because power should never prey on weakness. At night, I would hold my daughter, Elara, and promise her something simple: you will never have to shrink for love. Years later, business magazines would call it the hospital boardroom reversal. Analysts would study the legal brilliance. Commentators would debate corporate ethics. But for me, it wasn't strategy. It was survival. I learned something no MBA program teaches. Love without respect is surrender, and silence without awareness is dangerous. Strength isn't loud. It waits. It watches. And when necessary, it rises. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that you should never abandon your identity for someone else as comfort, then share it with someone who needs that reminder. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about resilience, justice, and reclaiming your power. Because sometimes the greatest comeback is into destroying your enemies. It is remembering who you were before you forgot your worth.